I'm Algernon Cash, and this is Eat, Drink, Triad. Welcome back for another great episode. I've got a really interesting conversation lined up for my audience today. I've got a husband and wife team. That's right, a husband and wife culinary team that's really taken the Triad by storm. So it's going to be such an honor for me to introduce you all to them today. But before we do so, we got to make sure we acknowledge our sponsors. Because the show is absolutely free. No one pays to download the show. No one pays to listen to the show, but sponsors and subscribers really make it possible for us to put this content out. And so I want to make sure I thank all my sponsors. Specifically, I want to thank Red Donut down in Lexington, Sorrow. Make sure you go see Sorrow. He's got some incredible donuts down there. I'm telling you. Now, they've got this one donut that they do, and they actually put ice cream inside the donut. I'm going to say that again. They put ice cream inside the donut. And I know that sounds crazy because you would think the donut is so hot that the ice cream would melt, but they've got some kind of secret voodoo magic that they're using because the ice cream stays intact inside of the donut. So go see Red Donut down in Lexington. And then also, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that. That's actually new. We've got some new content up on the Eat, Drink, Triad YouTube channel. So with all that said, let's kick into our conversation. I've got the Warfields here with me today, Chef Sean Warfield, as well as Chef Ebony Warfield. How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Now, I think I saw a post on Facebook that says people don't want to feel that Warfield pressure. Did I read that correctly, Chef Ebony?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
So, I want to start there. I mean, because it's not too often that we have a husband and wife team. Now, Chef Sean Warfield is at Sophie's Cork and Ale, which is down in Lexington, not too far from Red Donut, actually. And I've got a real good treat for my Eat, Drink, Triad audience. We did a 4-part series on Lexington that's getting ready to debut here in May. And Sophie's Cork and Ale is the focus of one part of that series, as well as Lulu's, the Goose and the Monkey, and Red Donut, and several other ones. So that's going to be coming out. I think the release date for the first part is sometime next week. So make sure you look out for that. Then Chef Ebony Warfield, she's over at Six and Vine in downtown Winston-Salem. You may recall me mentioning them as one of my top restaurant picks of the week just a few weeks ago. It's really interesting. I think, Chef Ebony, you have such a cool story because you're one of the few African-American women who don't own a restaurant, but you're the executive chef of a restaurant. And I know that's got to be, that just probably makes you feel incredible. But so we're going to kick into it. Help my audience understand, what is the Warfield pressure? Chef Ebony, tell us about that.
Well, I think it's a combo of both of us. We like to feed off of each other for sure. He's my biggest competition. And I just feel like like I said, we feed off of each other. So when he does something, I'm trying to compete with him to be better. When I do something, he competes with me to be better. So just applying pressure and learning as much as we can with our craft and just spreading it out there to everybody.
I like that. I the culinary and the restaurant business is so competitive. I've not been in the position that you all are in inside the kitchen, but I'm a partner in several restaurants. And it's just so competitive to try to keep your menu innovative and creative so people want to come see what you're about. Talk a little bit about, how did y'all meet? When did the relationship kick off?
Oh, well, we met in the Army, in AIT, because we was both cooks in the Army. So we met there. I looked at her and I was like, man, she cute, you know? I was like, yo, she cute. So I shot my shot at her, and then she ended up coming down for a visit, and we ended up, about a couple months later, got married, and we've been married ever since, going on 10 years on 25th.
Now, you said she was cute. Now, was she in the kitchen? Was she making anything? Was she fixing any food? Or?
So, funny story. We were in the same platoon, which is like a group of people. And I was his leader, or at that time. And he was supposed to respond to me and give me an answer. He gave me the wrong answer and took my job.
And that's not how it happened.
He took my job.
It's always two sides to every story. Well, my grandmother, she used to love to cook. And when I say she cooked, now she's not like these new grandmothers nowadays. She when she woke up in the morning, she would cook breakfast, she would cook lunch, and she would cook dinner, and those were all three distinctly different meals. Wasn't no recycling going on or anything like that. I mean, she was just cooking all day, and she used to always tell me that is the pathway to anybody's heart. Really, is food. So I often say, don't feed me, because they say don't feed cats. I say don't feed me, because I'll be scratching at your back door. But so how was it? I guess is that where you all learned how to cook? Was in the Army, making large batches for your fellow soldiers, or?
Yeah, because we had to feed 1,000 up to 2,000 people, you know, at time. And then after the military, we went to school at Art Institute of Austin, you know, and then from there we just started, you know, going everywhere else, trying to get better. Basically, that's just the goal, is just get better, and then, you know, further our career path.
Yeah, I just started literally just in the kitchen with my grandma, like a lot of little girls, hanging out around grandma. She's cooking dinner or breakfast or whatever it is. And I just picked up from there. And then, like he said, we joined the military and kind of expanded from there pretty much.
And did I hear you say that both y'all went to culinary school in Austin, Texas?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what brought you here all the way to Winston-Salem, North Carolina?
So my mom is from here, and I went to high school out here. So I went to Mount Tabor High School, graduated 2007. So after the military, I was ready to move. You know, I was too far away from my family, so we both decided to move back here to Winston-Salem.
And how's that been for you? I mean, since you landed here, I know Chef Sean, you're down in Lexington at Sophie's. Chef Ebony's at Six and Vine. What were you guys doing before? I mean, how was it when you first landed in town here?
Actually, we came to visit, and we actually stopped at Sweet Potatoes. And then from there, we worked there for a spell. Then we had a few odd jobs. I worked at Noble's for a little bit. I also got a chance to be the sous chef at Sir Winston Wine Loft. I helped open another restaurant in King. And then just so happened, we were blessed to meet Chef Travis by going to Willow's Bistro. And that's actually, by knowing him, he kind of opened a lot of doors for us. So when Miss Kathleen was actually looking for an executive chef, she reached out to Chef Travis, and he kind of threw the bone of me, and me and her met, and we instantly clicked. It was like we were meant to be with each other.
And for my audience, if you do not know Chef Travis, they are referring to Chef Travis Myers. Once was the executive chef at Willow's Bistro in downtown Winston-Salem. He's also a former North Carolina Chef of the Year. Super nice guy, very talented. And he and Ryan Oberle are working to open a new restaurant in Innovation Quarter. I think they've had some delays because of COVID, but whenever I've seen either one, they continue to assure me that they are still working towards it. And we'll have an opening date at some point. So make sure you get out and support them. I love Chef Travis. He used to come over to Zesto a lot of times, bring his kid and get hot dogs and ice cream.
Yeah.
So just a really all around kind of great person. You know, Chef Ebony, you said you were over at Noble's. I'll be honest with you, I don't go there as frequently as I used to, but it used to be one of my favorite places. I mean, that is an institution here in Winston-Salem. How did you find yourself at such a popular place?
So my husband actually worked there. He was working there before me. COVID happened, so I was without a job for a little bit. So I actually got Chef Michael Spencer's information. Spencer told me to come and stage. I mean, not stage. He told me to come in and actually cook a meal for him, pretty much. Like, let me see what you got. Came in. He was like, when do you want to do it? I said, I'm ready now, actually. Cooked the meal. You know, he picked it apart, obviously. And then I started working there.
Is it, so Chef Sean, is it been standard that you all have worked together a lot in a lot of these different places, or?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not intentionally.
Yeah, it's not intentional at all.
Some people are kind of afraid to hire a chef because they're not sure of what the dynamic may be until we actually work. We actually work great together, but yeah, people are just scared from the horror stories they've heard.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it. Last time I worked with someone I was dating in a kitchen, I think I was about 17 years old at McDonald's. And so no, I I am. I don't know if I'd want to be under that kind of pressure. I mean, describe that. How is it working in the kitchen together? And then how does that translate back to home life and being in the kitchen at home together?
It's great. I mean, like she's the yin to my yang, you know, like we are very compatible with each other, you know. It's like I don't have to worry about what's going on her side because I know it's like I can read minds. Like I've always, you know, joke where like, man, I can read your mind, you know, like I know what you're thinking all the time. So it's like it's easy. It's just like it's meant to be. Is what it feels like. It's like it's just meant to be. And then when we come here at home and when we cook, it's the same way, you know, even though we're tired, like, man, I don't want to cook today or whatever, you know, we get in there, we do it. Our kids help us, you know, they come in there, they want to, oh, can I do this? Can we make pasta? And so it's great. I love it.
So you all cook at home just as often as you cook inside the restaurant is what I'm hearing.
We try.
We definitely try to.
That's the key. Try.
We definitely try to.
Wow, because I know so many times, a lot of times my friends who are in the culinary business, they show out in the kitchen in the restaurant. Then when they get home, they're eating from McDonald's or oodles and noodles or something. But no, that's great. How would you all describe your style? What's your and I'm a full disclosure for my audience because I said this offline. I'm gonna say it online. I have not gotten to Six and Vine yet to actually try Chef Ebony's food. I have been to Sophie's Cork and Ale to try the food there. I will say that Chef Sean was not working when I was there, but Chef John Wilson, who is really talented, was on site when we were down there for the recording session. So I haven't tried Ebony's food yet, simply because you guys have been so busy, and I know staffing has been such an issue, and it's been hard to get people in. So I've got to get in there. I don't know when I'm gonna have to bribe Kathleen or bribe somebody to get me a table at Six and Vine. But how would you describe your cooking style?
I would say very eclectic, maybe Southern with French inspiration. That's pretty much how I can describe it, but very eclectic. I don't like to stick to one group of cooking. Like I don't want to always cook Southern food. I don't want to always cook French food. I don't want to always cook Italian. I like to take little bits and pieces that I've learned from traveling because we were in the military and combine it all together and just make a nicely composed dish.
I know I saw a burger on Facebook that I was like, I got to try this burger. And I saw you made a special meal for our mutual friend, Chef Terrell.
Oh, and, that's family.
I said, how do I get on that list? I wanted to message him and say, what have you done? I like Chef Terrell. I met him through Ryan, actually, over at Willow's. And Chef Terrell would make some homemade bacon jam that we were using for our mac and cheese burger at Zesto. And so I think the world of Chef Terrell as well. I mean, really talented guy, up and coming, and someone for people to certainly keep watching. You know, Chef Sean, how would you describe your style, man? What do you like in the kitchen?
My style is basically the same thing. I think that's how we both are. Like, we don't like to be categorized as, you know, just a Southern cook or just an Italian cook, or like she said, you know, we traveled everywhere. So we've tasted almost everything, you know, so it's like, we want to infuse that with, you know, with this, you know, what if I seen, you know, like a fried chicken, but then I seen something on the Japanese side, you know, and it's like, you know, bring them both together, just a fusion of all, you know, cuisines.
You know, I listened to you all, or I listened to Chef Ebony talk about some of the places that you've been, and, you know, through your culinary travels here in the region. Heard you mention sweet potatoes, who I think the world of Vivian and Stephanie, they really are sort of legends here in town. You know, they pioneered the downtown restaurant scene back when no one else was doing it. I'm so glad they've been able to survive despite the circumstances that have been going on. What was it like working with Chef Stephanie? What was that like in the kitchen?
Everyone thinks that, you know, they're tough, but we're from the military. So to us, it was
do your job.
Do your job.
Do your job right.
She won't say anything to you, kind of deal.
You do your job right. It was great though. They're definitely passionate about, you know, their restaurant and what they push out. They definitely are. And that was one of the greatest things, you know, I got to see, you know, working there. It was, you know, like, hey, if you're going to do it right. you know, and if you didn't do it right, then yeah, you're gonna hear something, you know. And in the culinary world, that's you know, that's what it is.
I think they really just get the slack because honestly, two women, people aren't seeing two women being that, you know, true to themselves. And sometimes people just aren't ready to see that, but they handle it well.
No, I used to, I asked that question for a reason, because I used to have some cooks that would come to me and they would complain and say Chef Stephanie and Vivian was being too hard on them. And I said, no, I said, they're not being too hard on you. I mean, one, this is a very competitive industry. You're trying to get butts in the seats night after night. And it, you know, it all revolves around whether or not your food is good. And one, this industry is really tough. I mean, it's a tight margin business. And so you got to make sure you get it right the first time. You can't get it right the fourth and the fifth and the sixth time. It's so important to get it right the first time. So I'm thankful that you all you know, have that perspective of them, because I think they're really successful businesswomen. They're aggressive, they're competitive, they don't take any junk, but you know, you certainly can't in this particular business. I also want to highlight the fact, I mean, they're minorities. I mean, we don't have too many African-American owned restaurants in our community. I mean, you got Simply Sold, Taste of the Triad, Sweet Potatoes, Precise Seafood. There's just a handful that are here in our community. You don't have too many African-Americans leading kitchens in this region like yourself. What would you attest that to? How did you get into the leadership positions that you're in today?
I guess military kind of bred us that way. Being in the military definitely teaches you to be a leader, because you're always responsible for someone else. It's never just you. So you're bred to be a leader when you join the military. So getting out that transition was pretty much the same. The back of the kitchen is just like being in the military. It's a pecking order. You may get yelled at, but it all comes from a place of, I just want this to be great. That's it. So the military and the kitchen was kind of the same to me. So it wasn't really a hard transition over.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a phrase that they use called herd in the kitchen. And so I think you just keep that on your tongue, you'll be fine. You don't need to say a lot else. You know, Chef Ebony, I mentioned earlier at the top of the conversation, I mean, you're one of the few African-American women who serves as an executive chef of a restaurant, but doesn't necessarily own the restaurant like Chef Stephanie or Chef Ashley over at Precise Seafood. What's your advice to other minorities that are trying to break into this business? So oftentimes I see African-Americans get stuck in the dish pit, or they get stuck as a server, but they don't necessarily get to move into the kind of positions you're in, the management kind of roles where you're running the kitchen or running the front of the house. What's your advice to that person that's listening today, this afternoon, that's trying to break through like you did?
Don't listen to anybody who tells you no. Don't listen to it. Actually use that no to fuel what you want to do. Don't sit down. You have to get up. You have to be motivated. It's going to be long days. It's going to be long hours. You're going to be tired. But at the end of that journey, you're going to get somewhere. And it's going to be worth everything that you've had to deal with, put up with, the sleepless nights, whatever it is. Just stay motivated. Don't give up.
And Chef Sean, what about you, man? You've been a lot of places. You're the sous chef down at Sophie's Cork now, working with John Wilson, who I think is probably, I mean, really, and I don't blow smoke when I say this. I think he's probably one of the most talented chefs in the region. He's very up and coming. What would you say to minorities that's looking to break into this industry?
Yeah, man, I would definitely say, you know, keep pushing, you know, keep grinding. And you're going to have bad days, you know, and it's going to feel like, man, I work everybody every day, but you gotta keep going, you know, like we have to, you know, as minorities, just to, you know, try to make our mark. We have to, you know, we have to keep grinding. You know, it's going to be one days you just like nothing goes right, but you got to keep pushing through. If you keep pushing through, you're going to see the results. And like Ebony said, don't listen to the no's. Turn that into your motivation, you know, because when one no is 1,000 yeses behind that no. You know, when one door closes, there's many other doors that opens for you. So you just got to keep going, keep grinding.
I think that's great advice. You know, I say you got to stay locked in. And that simply means you just got to stay focused on what it is you're trying to do. Ignore all of what I call the distractions, you know, people trying to derail you from what you're trying to accomplish, and just stay locked in on what you're doing. Sean, Ebony mentioned that you were at Noble's at one point here in Winston-Salem.
Yes,
Now you've left the big city and you're in the barbecue capital of the world down in Lexington. You guys are doing a lot more than barbecue at Sophie. So let me make that clear. That is not a barbecue. That's not a barbecue spot. It's the menu you all have there could certainly rival many of the downtown restaurants we have in Winston-Salem. What made you go all the way to Lexington to go work with John Wilson?
Well, me and John I met John actually through Chef Terrell. And then we was talking one day because I seen he needed help. He was asking about help. So I asked, I was just inquired about it. And he said he needed help. Went down there, did my interview. And it just sounded like a place, where I could be at. Me and him instantly clicked. It's like, we just did an event and I feel like I've known him my whole life. I feel like that's like, we're the same age. I feel like that's my brother. He's more than just, like I told him, I said, man, more than just my chef. Like I consider you family. Because just the vibe and the energy and just the passion he has about it, I have the same about it. And I feel like, yeah, we were definitely meant to be together, meant to work together.
Yeah, I like John a lot. I followed him online on Facebook for a long time, probably literally maybe a year or two almost. Mayor Newell Clark down in Lexington's one of my best friends. So I was aware of Sophie's, but when I went to Sophie's, it was prior to John buying out the business. So I never really met John, but I just found out about him online. All his food looks great. I mean, the pictures look good. It tastes as good as it looks when I came down there. And so I think the world of him. And, I love his commitment to Lexington and just the fact that he's not allowing all the attention and the accolades to draw him out of his hometown and bring him on to Greensboro or Winston-Salem or High Point or whoever wants to get him. He really wants to try to build up that community. So I think that's great. I did see on Instagram, you all just did your first outdoor, or not outdoor, but catering event outside the restaurant. So congratulations on that. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and that's a good sign. COVID is finally getting behind us. We are seeing that sort of pickup in catering activity, but we're also seeing a lot of pickup inside the restaurants. Ebony, you guys are crazy busy down at Six and Vine. Describe what is going on with the staffing situation. What are you doing to try to get people to come to work?
So right now we're just all hands on deck. So just reaching out to people, having them just to come help. Right now the kitchen fully staffed and equipped. So I'll leave those guys in the back and I'm with my chef jacket and I'm running food, I'm cooking the food, whatever it needs to happen to make it happen, to make that day and make sure that my servers get money, Miss Kathleen gets money, the kitchen is happy, food isn't dying, whatever it takes, honestly. We're just, me and Miss Kathleen, we're making it happen, okay?
You all are. And I encourage my audience that if you are getting back out into restaurants right now, be patient. I mean, the waits are going to be long. There is a chance that maybe a server is going to make a mistake, or unfortunately, because of staffing issues, food might end up sitting in the window a little longer than it should. But I think we've got some really talented people in this industry that want to get it right. They want to serve you right. They'll fix whatever the problem is. Just try to be patient. The other day, I never thought I would ever do this in my life, but the other day I waited 2 hours to have brunch at Young Cardinal Cafe and Company. So I made them my top restaurant pick of that week simply because I invested 2 hours of my life to get those huevos rancheros. It was worth it.
Yes.
But oh my God, they do it with the pulled pork. It's amazing.
So good.
It's amazing. Man. Speaking of another very innovative chef, is Chef David Swing. I met Swing back when he was open in Sir Winston. Have followed him since. Yep. I've followed him since. I've known Chef Adam Andrews for a long time. Think the world of him as well. It's almost like anything he touches turns to gold. But that's because he puts a lot of hard work behind it. I mean, he's in there with his shorts and his flip-flops on in the kitchen, looking, right alongside everybody else. I mean, he's not a typical owner by any stretch. But I've always been impressed with Chef Swing. And when he went there, he allowed me to come in pretty early on and sample the menu. Very impressed by this sort of breakfast lunch type menu that they came up with. Hate that they didn't get a chance to try their late night business model out. But I've heard they're still wanting to work around to it. Speaking of Chef Swing, you said it. Y'all met when y'all opened Sir Winston.
Yeah.
That was a short tenure based on what I saw when Sir Winston first opened. What happened at Sir Winston for the inquiring minds that want to know?
That is a good question.
Now you didn't tell me that. You told me. You said I could go.
No,
anywhere.
you're fine. You're fine. That's a good question. I'm actually not too sure about what happened between Swing and owners. I can't speak on that. I can speak on my experience.
Yes.
So Chef Swing was great. I loved him. He let us literally. I feel like that's how my name kind of started to get out there, by being underneath Chef Swing, because he would let me cook and just be completely creative and wouldn't put me in any kind of a box and allow me to take pictures of the food and actually post it and put it out there. And then shortly after he left, it was a void in the kitchen. So they needed someone to step up, and they went out and they did interviews just like a regular interview. It wasn't just, oh, you're here, you got the job kind of deal. A lot of people think that just because he left, oh, you got the job. I actually had the interview just like everybody else. And I just was the best one out of all of the interviews. And I ended up getting the job there, and I became literally the executive chef, the sous chef, the line cook, the whatever it had to be, the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And I think that's really kind of what kicked off my career, was starting there with Chef Swing, honestly.
That's very cool. Now, I remember, I never met you back then, but I remember hearing your name from Swing. And then they would all come down and we would hang out on 4th Street late night when y'all were getting done. And, since then, I will say for my audience, Sir Winston has turned a corner. And I would encourage you to maybe go give them a shot, go check them out again. I think they've got a great wine bar in there. They seem like they've finally gotten the menu dialed down, and have gotten the kitchen staff a little bit more stabilized as well. So make sure, if you've been on the list of people who haven't been in there, make sure you work back in and give them another shot. I always want everybody to win. I had Chef Jeff Bacon from Providence Kitchen here on the show. And we talked about, and just even listening to you all's story about how y'all have met people along the way that have sewn into you, and that's allowed you to become who you are. I want everybody in the food and beverage scene locally to win. I mean, that doesn't matter who you are. I want you to win, because I think this is a tough business. I think the contributions from our restaurant community to our overall community is significant. I think it's the reason why people come into town and they want to see what we have to offer as a community. It's the place that you first got engaged. It's the place that you had the first date. I had Chef Don McMillan on, and Chef Don McMillan used to own Cafe Piaf. I remember my first fine dining experience at his restaurant. So what you all do in the culinary business and what restaurants contribute to our community is just huge. And I'm so thankful for you all. Thankful that you made time for this conversation. Thankful that you make time to serve and feed us all that great food that you do night after night. What is the future for the Warfields? Should we be looking for a Warfield food truck, a Warfield grill? I mean, what's the future for the Warfield family?
Well, we definitely want to own our own restaurant. I mean, we've talked about a food truck. I'm not sure if that's still there. It might be, but definitely a restaurant. That's definitely our next goal. It's definitely getting a restaurant going and pushing out what we want to do, like showing our creative side, to the fullest.
Well, I think you all are a delightful couple. Let me say that. And certainly great professionals. And if you keep on the path you're on, I think we all will be getting in line at Warfield Grill here sooner than later. And I hope you all will see me as a personal resource. I will do anything in the world to help you. Make sure you call on us anytime. If there's anything we can do to get the word out about anything you're working on here on the Eat, Drink, Triad show, you all let me know that. And I'm just looking forward to making sure we showcase Sophie's coming up here soon on our Eat, Drink, Triad video series. And I promise Ebony and I promise my audience, I am going to get to Six and Vine. It may be one of those things like where you have to camp out when they're getting ready to release alcohol. I may just have to go ahead and put my tent up outside and just be the first one in there, because it is busy. But please make sure you go check out Sophie's Cork and Ale. Go check out Six and Vine. Ask about Chef Sean Warfield down at Sophie's. Chef Ebony Warfield is over at Six and Vine. So make sure you go visit both of them. We do have another Eat, Drink, Triad op-ed available in Yes Weekly. So grab your Yes Weekly and you can check out my latest reviews. Make sure you also stay tuned in to WTOB for your Eat, Drink, Triad updates. And you can certainly follow what we do here at Eat, Drink, Triad. Go to Facebook, join the group to keep up with what's going on in your local food and beverage community. Until next time, y'all stay locked in.